The final episode of the Stargirl series has finally dropped, and we gotta talk about it because it's so unfortunate that this show is not getting any more seasons and it's just done. I don't get it. Why would you stop this amazing show? But hey, maybe James Gunn will turn around, save the show, or at least save the characters and put them in something else, because I think all the actors do a fantastic job playing the characters they portray. This video is going to be slightly different than they were in the past because we're going to be dealing with a bunch of stuff because this is the final episode of the series. We'll begin to talk about a final review for episode 13, then we're going to go into the breakdown, then talk about the ending and kind of dive into that and where it's going to lead into the future, and then we're going to do an overall season 3 impressions and how I felt about this season. So let's jump into this show because it was a pretty good final. Welcome to NonStopAntonio, where I talk about everything nerdy. If you like content just like this, hit the subscribe button for more, and I hope you enjoy this video. I liked how this episode started off pretty much pushing us right into the final fight, getting us with the JSA versus the villains, and figuring out what's going on there. And the fight was really nice. It wasn't anything that was like super action-packed compared to some of the stuff we've seen, but it had so many good character moments, especially with Jakeem and him saving Cindy, Courtney saving Pat and taking the staff back and really becoming a true hero. It's pretty much her embracing being a hero more and more, because every season she gets more and more heroic and kind of becomes that leader that the JSA needs. We also had other great moments with Pat and Sylvester, which were really good moments between someone who was betrayed by the person they thought was their best friend, who was the Ultra Humanite in disguise. The CGI in this episode looked great for the CW show, and I think a lot of their budget went to this episode and like the episode with Obsidian and Jade. So that's probably also why we didn't get a lot of superheroism during the season, except for specific episodes, because they put a lot of that budget into the big fights, which I'm okay with. But I think if it was on like HBO Max or something else, it probably would have got a little bit better treatment when it came to doing some more action-packed stuff. I still really like the murder mystery aspect of this show though. I like that they actually managed to tie up all the loose ends by the end of the season, which also made me think that they kind of knew that they were going to get canceled. And the only reason I think that is because of the way it ended, because it takes a 10-year time jump. The JSA is kind of doing their own thing. Jay Garrick comes through a time vortex or a multiverse vortex and says that JSA will always be needed and there's always adventures. So something's going on there, kind of leaving it open-ended to do more heroic stuff. However, I don't think if we get a season 4 or something else continuing these stories, it wouldn't be the JSA as still high schoolers. I think it'll be in that 10-year time jump, which I'm totally okay with, because that means we can also get more heroic superhero team up and doing some pretty cool stuff. I love that Artemis got her revenge by the end of the show, and I love that Cameron turned and joined the JSA, because I knew he wasn't going to let his family hurt Courtney, because he cares too much about her, and he's not a horrible person. He just has a lot of conflicting emotions because of his family and how evil they all were. He's not that type of person, which is like his grandpa, who is not entirely evil and doesn't want to hurt the kids, which I liked, and you really could see that throughout the show. The show is a lot better than some of the other CW shows when it comes to CGI, comes to the writing, and just how the characters are portrayed on screen. I also think the fact that it's a 13-episode show helps it a lot. But let's jump into the breakdown, talking about what happened in the episode. I think one of the biggest moments when the show started is showing that 9 months ago, when they brought Sylvester Pemberton back alive, it was Ultra Humanite, Dragon King, and Icicle bringing Sylvester back and pretty much torturing him. But they also said that when they brought him back to life, he was brain dead and his brain wasn't there, which was a total bullshit line, and Sylvester was still alive even after they cut his head off. And like I said in the review, I like how it started off with the JSA kind of putting the pieces together, finding out that Sylvester has been purposely making them separate, and it all came together. Like, they're not dumb kids. They all can kind of see that, well, Sylvester didn't tell him that the hourglass was going to affect Rick the way it did. He made Courtney think she was unworthy of the staff, made Yolanda not trust Cindy, made Beth not keep her parents around. So they really finally put all the pieces together that it was Starman all along that was making them disband and not trust each other, which I like that they came to the conclusion and it wasn't Pat coming in and being like, oh, he's lying to us. You know, this is what's happening. I like that the kids are the one that figured it out. And the one thing that rubbed me the wrong way was how Cameron was trusting his father. Like, I know you're trying to trust your father, someone you cared for, someone you just got back in his life after you thought he was dead, but like, the dude was sounding super sus the entire time. Like, he's like, oh, Starman's on our side now. It's not like I killed him once. Oh yeah, he's joining us. We need to convince him that we need to team up to go after the Ultra Humanite because the Ultra Humanite killed Pat. And I like how the grandpa steps in and it's like, you gotta stop lying to him. And then the grandma threatens him and doesn't like him saying that, which right there and then shows again that the grandpa is a good person. He's genuinely not that evil. I think, you know, he has his evil moments, but he's not a bad person. He just doesn't want to be involved in all this death. And like, he just wants to live his life with his family. And I think that's honorable. And it also sucks how his life got kind of turned upside down by the end of the episode. And I'm also glad that Pat lived. All the talking about Pat dying, he was able to get out, and it probably helped that it was all muddy, that he could kind of like squirm his way through rather than it being so compact. I'm still shocked Pat was able to hold his breath for as long as he did, because goddamn, he was under there. He was buried. He wasn't in a box. He was buried underground. But anyways, that all leads to the big fight, of course, because hey, we can't have a superhero show final without having some gigantic fight with the villains, right? I thought Ultra Humanite would be part of this fight, but he didn't. I was actually disappointed in, because I was really hoping that we'd see Rick versus the Ultra Humanite, and I'm sad that we didn't get that scene. Also, I was kind of hoping that Grundy would appear at the very midst of the fight while Rick is about to die and just come and swat Ultra Humanite away. But, well, Ultra Humanite, Dragon King. So I was really hoping that would happen. Also, during this, I'm just going to say right now, I'll probably call Starman, and Dragon King Ultra Humanite, just because it's easier to put the faces to the characters. You can really see how much Icicle could really control Cameron, because when they were trying to say that, oh, Pat's gone, you know, Starman's on our team, we want to work together, and Cameron's like, I wouldn't lie to you, he's dead. But that's only because he believes what his father says to him. And I like how Courtney's still like, no, we don't believe you. Nah, you're evil. You're a villain. We're not gonna believe anything you say. And that's when Stripes comes through and lands right next to him. I honestly thought it was Zeke at first, and that Pat would come later. But I like that it was Pat coming at the perfect time to be a hero and be like, nah, that is Ultra Humanite. That is not Sylvester. Which I thought was a great moment, and Pat was pretty beat up. Pat got really roughed up this episode. We got some cool action with Starman using the staff, and it's slicing the car in half. And then I love the fact that even though he has no powers, Pat is fighting with his life and going against Starman, who has the cosmic staff. And it's just such a good scene where you can really see someone who's just human fighting someone with superpowers. And even when I was watching this whole scene, I'm like, oh, that's where the budget went. All this. I like that we got a Rick versus Cameron rematch, even though it was only for like a short second, because Cameron was just trying to make sure that no one was going to die, because he was trying to make sure that Rick wouldn't hurt his father, but then also making sure his father didn't hurt Courtney, which was great, because Icicle threatened to kill Courtney, and Cameron's like, not on my watch. That ain't happening. So we had an Icicle versus Icicle Jr. fight, which was pretty cool. And the fact that he could really see how bad of a father is when his own father threatens to kill him if he doesn't get out of his way. Like, Jordan, you are a terrible father. No matter what you say, how much you love your family, you were a terrible father. You know, I love the fact that Cameron stuck up for Courtney, and in the end, he was kind of a hero. One of the best parts of the fight is Beth going to fight Gramps again, and her saying, I don't really want to fight. And him like, me neither. And she's like, then let's try to get everyone to stop. And then evil grandmother coming in and threatening to kill her own husband if he doesn't kill Beth, because it's time for all the kids to die. Oh my god, she got what she deserved. I love when Yolanda comes in, distracts her, and then Grandma Icicle ends up killing herself by getting crushed by a car. And I love Yolanda's reaction like, I didn't do it. Because Yolanda has killed people before, and that's weighed on her, but this isn't her fault. That was definitely the grandma's fault by shooting up, not paying attention, and just trying to block it with an ice shield instead of moving out of the way. I was shocked though when that happened. I was like, holy shit, like, god damn. And then that Barb crossbow save for Courtney was great, because it really showed that she still had the crossbow that Paula gave her that showed her how to fight. And, you know, she got to do a little bit of action. You know, Barb's usually on the side, not doing much, and she got to step in and be a hero for once, even though it was only for a couple seconds. And then the staff scene, beautiful. Courtney realizing that the only reason Starman has the staff is because she believed that he was Starman and was worthy of the staff. So by her turning around and be like, yeah, you're not Starman, you don't get the staff, and taking it back, beautiful moment for Courtney. She's a hero, she knows it, and she gets the staff, and then Pat gets to beat on Starman with only bare fists, and they don't have any weapons, which was great. However, it just managed to turn into like a sad part right afterwards, because you had Cameron making his father run away. Jordan turned into like a snow cloud and just vanished. But like Cameron being like, my grandmother's dead, my father betrayed me, I've betrayed you guys and my family, and he feels crushed. And I thought that was gonna be the last time we see him until the end, where he actually goes to Courtney for help, which I'm glad he did, because I get why he left. Grandmother died, his father just tried to kill him, and he betrayed his friends and family for nothing. Like he has no one at this point other than his grandpa, because he feels like he's wronged people, And at the same time, he's been wrong. He just doesn't know what to do. He's conflicted. And I'm glad that he's getting help from Courtney in the end. Because he deserves it. He's not a bad person. He might have some anger issues because of the icicle powers, but he's not a bad person. The disappearing part was interesting though. So I guess the icicle powers, they can kind of turn into snow and just vanish and kind of reform. I'm assuming that's what happened. But that was interesting. Of course, we have the other fight that was going on, the Ultra Humanite versus Cindy fight, which was cool at first. Like, it was a couple good moments, you know, grabbing her and throwing her. But the best part about it, with Jakeem coming a hero, when he wishes for Thunderbolt to save the prettiest girl in the world, and Mike turning around and be like, that's not clear enough. But then Jakeem being like, no, it's because I wished it. It's my heart. So him being clear and kind of thinking what he wants is how the wish works. And I think they finally figured out how to use it, because him actually, you know, using the power, all the pink going around him, Thunderbolt coming out, getting Ultra Humanite, flying into the sky, and turning him into a stuffed animal was great. I loved it, and I was really confused at first because the Thunderbolt says they can't kill anyone, and then at the end of the episode, it's showing that the Ultra Humanite is still alive, while Dragon King is still alive, but as a stuffed animal. So that's interesting. And also his arm got ripped off. Well, not his arm. By the dog. But I think some of the best parts about this episode too is that the fact that after the big fight, they kind of had a trailing off point for the episode where every kind of storyline they set up got solved. Cosmo came back to Courtney, went back in his box because he knows that the Ultra Humanite built this case for him and it wasn't really Sylvester, and he likes his box. That's his home. Then you also had Pat telling Courtney how he got out, which is by disjointing his thumbs, which we've heard other heroes do in the past. And he mentions that he learned it from Sylvester while he was captured by Dr. Weird. And in the comics, Dr. Weird first appeared in the Star Spangled Comics issue #1, which is a Stripe C and the Star Spangled Kid comic. I like the fact that Beth asked her parents to actually be a part of her superhero career, and they called themselves sidekicks, which was just cute. And I like the fact that her parents wanted to be involved, and I was right. I thought they were gonna die. I honestly thought Beth's parents were gonna get wrecked this season, and I am honestly shocked that they didn't. I thought there was just gonna be a huge character development moment for her, where her parents get murdered, or at least one of them, by Icicle or one of the other villains. And I'm actually shocked it didn't happen. We had Dr. Midnight come back. I like how he appeared a couple times during the season, just have him show up. And it's cool to see the OG members as well. And I like how they're checking Sylvester's body. Ultra Humanite, brain dead, the body's still alive, and Pat holds out hope that they'll keep him on life support to find Sylvester's brain, because they have a feeling that, you know, the Ultra Humanite lied the whole time. Who knows if he's actually lying about Sylvester's brain being gone? Which, right after they show that it's not, it's in this giant mountain base where it's being sustained in a jar, I think is really cool. And by the end of the episode, they also say that they saved him in the end, which I really wish we get to see. But we're not. But I wish we were able to see that. I think it would have been a really cool moment of the JSA finding the brain, Pat finding his best friend, and having them reunite fully on screen. Then you had the plot point where they were talking about Mike seeing his mom again, and Pat actually brings him to see his mom, which I thought was a nice moment. You know, his father helping him see his mother again and kind of giving him that moment that he needed. Then another plot point resolved, Courtney going to see Becky Sharp, the gambler's daughter, which I thought was great. I was really wondering what was going to happen there, but it was just kind of a nice touching moment, giving her the letter, and then her awkward being like, bye. I mean, honestly, that would be awkward. If some girl you had no idea who it was came and gave your dead father's note to you, you would feel a little weird as well. Oh, and of course, we got the Grundy wakes up. They couldn't have had this earlier. I wanted to see Grundy all season, like all season. And at the very end, Grundy wakes up after Rick says he misses him. We waited all season for this, and like I said, I wanted Grundy to come in and knock Ultra Humanite out, but I guess we didn't get that. Anyways, if they have a season 4 or something else, I want to see Grundy back. And I also really like the moment while they're in the house, getting ready to have like a big JSA family dinner, and the Ultra Humanite is being dragged around by the dog. We had the camera coming to get Courtney for help. Great moment, and I love them kind of being a couple. Honestly, I didn't think I'd ship them. I ship them. They're great, and Courtney's such a good person that she's willing to help him get through everything. And in the end, she does. But honestly, best moment of the episode was Artemis getting her revenge on Icicle. It took place 3 months later, but she burned that dude alive. Oh, I love that she's like this. She pointed it back to her father, and she's like, you're not coming back from this, and drops the flare on the petroleum gel. And I was like, oh my god, Icicle is a goner. He's not coming back from that. Well, I hope not anyways. Oh, damn, that was a good moment. And I really wish we got more Artemis this season. Like, we got her a couple times throughout it, but I was really hoping that she show up, especially when Courtney's like, Artemis always comes through. She'll be here when we need her. And then she didn't show up during the fight. I was really hoping she'd show up during the fight to kick Jordan's ass or fight them, but I guess she was plotting to wait to see what happened. So once he ran, she tracked him down and got her revenge, because otherwise she probably wouldn't have been able to get that revenge if she was with the JSA. Then we get the 10-year time jump, which I didn't see coming. I like how the Shade is giving a tour of the JSA headquarters and how the JSA have become this world's heroes, which I thought was really cool. I just wish we would have seen them grow into that, which, I mean, I guess technically they could still show us flashbacks, or, you know, just go to the 10-year time mark and then start showing us adventures with them. Because the JSA does deal with time travel and the multiverse, like every superhero team, though I am intrigued to see what they do next. Because while the Shade's giving the tour, Stargirl is now Starwoman. We got Wildcat, Jade and Obsidian officially joined the team. Dragon Queen, which is Cindy, that's a cool name. You know, taking her father's name and making it her own. I'm assuming she turned a little bit more lizardy in the end because of, you know, them not actually getting the cure to that. Then we have Stripe 2.0, then Jakeem Thunder really becoming that, you know, superhero when he was a little bit nervous as he grew into that role. Again, I wish we saw him more develop into that. We got a cool hero moment in this episode, but we didn't really see much else. Cameron became Icicle, which I thought was really cool, and I think it makes sense. He is a villain in the comics, but in Young Justice, they even kind of made him kind of a villain, but not a bad person, because he comes from with Connor. So it's cool to see that in the Stargirl universe, he's also becoming more of a hero. Then we had Artemis, of course. You know, she's going to join the team. She was already part of the team. Sand, which was Sandy Hawkins, which Obsidian and Jade went to go see back in their episode, and Damage, who was Grant Emerson, who was also referenced a few episodes ago as well. Dr. Midnight and Our Man, so Rick and Beth are getting married. Solomon Grundy became part of the team. Of course he did. He's coming around to help Rick and everyone else. And then, like I said, they managed to bring back Sylvester. They put his brain back in his body, and I wish we'd be able to see that, because I think that would be a really good moment to see Pat and Sylvester reunite. And they managed to rescue the 7 Soldiers of Victory from the Nebula Man, which they've referenced the 7 Soldiers of Victory before, because Stripes, Starman, and the Shining Knight were all part of that team. The Shining Knight appeared in season 1. We haven't seen him since. However, there were still the Green Arrow, Speedy, and a couple other characters like Vigilante that we haven't seen yet. And I guess that they're trapped throughout time, and the JSA went to save them. Because in the comics, the Nebula Man had a confrontation with the 7 Soldiers of Victory, which ended up getting them all scattered through time, and it took the Justice League and the JSA to save them all and beat Nebula Man. And because that has to deal with time travel and being scattered through time, I feel like that's probably also why Pat is the AG is, and how he's kind of in the present, but also in the past and all over the place. Plus, that's also why I think at the end when Jay Garrick comes running through, which we all thought was dead after season 1, because they just portrayed that the Flash is dead. No one's seen Jay Garrick. Where has he been this entire freaking time? But I'm glad Johnny Wesley Shipp came back as Jay Garrick, because that was freaking awesome. I loved seeing that. And I loved how he came to get the Shade, being like, well, you're part of the JSA too, and Courtney Whitmore needs your help. Their adventures are not over. And with the adventures not being over, this is what I think it means by that. I think the show might have had a feeling that it was going to get canceled, so they set up this ending to do a time jump to really show that these characters have become true heroes of this planet, and that they're a proper team. It kind of gave a nice wrapped up ending that they became a team. There will always be more stories, and that's also where I think the Jay Garrick comes in, where he comes in either through time or the multiverse. So this could be the Jay Garrick we've seen in The Flash, but I don't think so. I think this is the Jay Garrick from the Stargirl Earth, and I also think that that vortex that he came through could either be the Speed Force, like Barry has come through before, or it could be the multiverse. Because we've seen different vortexes for the Speed Force and the multiverse throughout the shows, kind of resembling that. Otherwise, I don't think it could be anything else from him appearing. It's either time travel through the Speed Force or a multiverse. Which is also why I think they also potentially set up a season 4 if they need it. Because this could be either the JSA in the future needing the Shade's help and being heroes again somewhere in time or on another Earth. Or this could be Jay Garrick coming from the past with younger Courtney and the JSA coming to get the Shade in the future for some reason and doing some timey-wimey adventures. I just think it's cool that we got Jay Garrick back, and I just really wish that we got some explanation to how he was back, which I'm assuming they would have done in a season 4. But I think if they ever do a new season of the show, and if James Gunn does decide to pick it up on like HBO Max, it'll be something in the future with them being older, which it'll be all the same actors and everything. However, they'll just perceive them as older. Either that or they'll still take place maybe a few years, so they're out of high school and they're just being heroes. But honestly, I would take any more of this show. I want to see all the heroes. I really wanted to see Jade and Obsidian be heroes as well. I wanted to meet Sandy Hawkins, and I wanted to meet Grant Emerson. Though maybe there's still time. Hopefully we can see these characters again one day. And, you know, there is a apparent season 4 Titans crossover with Stargirl, which it might just be Courtney, But now it makes me wonder how that's going to happen. Is that going to be like 10 years later, Courtney, where she's Star-Woman? Or is that going to be sometime after this season ends and she just somehow manages to get to the Titans Earth? Because it's going to be some multiverse stuff, which I'm very interested to seeing how that wraps up. Because obviously, Stargirl has not crossed over with anything the whole 3 shows she had. But all of a sudden, her character is going to appear on Titans somehow. It's going to be... I'm intrigued. I want to see what happens. And I'm sure what will happen when we get back. I have a feeling it'll be the first episode when we do get back to Titans because of how the mid-season final ended. So, I got my theories. Now. If you want to hear those, let me know. But I don't want to spoil Titans for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But let's talk about my overall Season 3 impression. So, I think the season started off very, very strong. With the gambler's death, kind of showing up that murder mystery, making us question everything. But then that questioning kind of stuff kind of started to trail off a little bit after we figured out Mr. Bones wasn't behind it. And then we found out Icicle was behind it all. Because the mystery part was broken wide open, but then the next big wow factor was that the Ultra Humanite was in Sylvester's body and that Dragon King was in the Ultra Humanite's body. Which I think what they did really well this season too was the reveals, making us shocked to see Ultra Humanite be Sylvester, shocked to see Icicle still alive, and also finding out that Mr. Bones isn't a bad guy. And the fact that he has Helix. They also set up Helix, which could potentially show up in a new season if they decide to do that. I love that this season made Courtney a truer hero than she already was. She just slowly more and more became that leadership role by the end of it, kind of noticing that she can do it. She is the hero that she needs. She doesn't need to listen to Starman. She's the one that can do it all. And she has a team to back her up that's pretty much her family. Some of the stuff I do wish they did a little bit more, though, was the more superheroing. Like, there was some stuff here and there, but I feel like there could have been a little bit more each episode, and there was not as much as I wish there was. However, it kind of made up for it with the Jade Obsidian episodes and the final few episodes as well. I do really wish, another criticism I had is I wish we got a Rick versus the Ultra Humanite fight. I just wanted to see him use his strength against a giant gorilla. I also wish we got more Artemis this season because I feel like they set up stuff and I wish we got more of her. I really liked her character and I wanted to see her interact with JSA a lot more. I still really enjoyed the season and I've honestly loved this show. It's had so many cool moments. Season 1 was really cool, introducing us to the JSA. Season 2 with Eclipso was really dark and brought some really great moments between our characters, and the final fight with all of them standing up together was perfection. And then this one was just as good, giving us a murder mystery. It was a little toned down, but I think the twists and the reveals really made up for it. And the fact that it set up the JSA being a full-fledged team by the end of the episode, which I still think that they better do a season 4 or give us more of these characters somehow, because I don't want to see the end of them. Like, some of the shows are canceling. Okay, The Flash is ending. I'm okay with that. It's gone on for 9 years. Stargirl has gone on for 3. It's barely touched the ground. It's probably, it's easily one of the best DC shows. And I'm disappointed that they decided to cancel it. I just wish that HBO Max decided, hey, we'll take the rights for it and we'll make our own show. Because it started on DC Universe and then went over to CW. So, there's hope. There's always hope. Because Titans and Doom Patrol is still on HBO Max, and if they perform good, I'm sure they'll get another season. Even with everything that's going on with DC right now, I'm still sure that something will happen, and we will get more of these characters in some way. Especially if James Gunn sees all the praise the show gets and everyone enjoying it, he'll most likely bring them back. They're reworking everything right now, but I think that if characters can be brought back and be separated on certain Earths, they can do it. It doesn't matter. Like, Stargirl, its own thing. You can just have it another Earth in the multiverse. Change the number. It doesn't have to be Earth 2. It can be any Earth you want it to be. The Arrowverse is the one that said it. We don't care. You can set it to any goddamn Earth you want with redoing this new universe. I don't care. Just keep the characters. It's time to say goodbye to a great show for now. And I hope to see more of it. What did you guys think of this season? And what did you think of the final episode? Let me know down in the comments. And let me know what you think they could do with a season 4 if it does end up happening. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I can't wait to do some more DC projects. Doom Patrol will be next, and it'll come out tomorrow for the first 2 episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.